So welcome to the Challenge the Road podcast. Stephen Finn.
Nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Youngest ever player for Middlesex. Is it 16 years old you started your career there?
Yeah, it feels like a long time ago now. I'm 32, going on 33. So yeah, it's 2005, the first time I played cricket for Middlesex professionally. So yeah, it feels like a long time ago, but I wouldn't change it for the world.
And you're going to Sussex now from Middlesex. So you're at Middlesex, what, almost 15 years?
Yeah, well, I think like 17 professional seasons in the end it was at Middlesex. Yeah, so a long time, and have just signed a not that long a contract at Sussex, so 3 years at Sussex, and that'll take me to 35. So I'm looking forward to it. It's a really exciting project and a group of people. It's a great place to play cricket, so I'm looking forward to it.
And what was you in the England team at 20, which is an amazing achievement, isn't it?
Yeah. Again, that feels like a long time ago now, but yeah, in the England team at 20 and managed to be able to tour the world for 7 or 8 years with the England team, getting to see some wonderful places and playing some big games and some big series wins. So yeah, it's been
What's
it's
the
been
biggest
good fun.
one?
Ashes away is probably the biggest one. 2010-11, we went down to Australia and won in Australia for the first time in 24 years, I think it was. So yeah, decent achievement, that one.
And you got a hat-trick, didn't you, in the World Cup against
In the World
Australia?
Cup, yeah. In the World Cup in 2015, took a hat-trick, although it's not a glamorous hat-trick like you might hear about. It'll get more glamorous as I get older, I think.
So we went out in the CTR Vantage, and you had a real good drive in that. I know you haven't driven a manual car for a while, but what was your impression of that and the performance?
No, it was fantastic. It was strange driving a manual that wasn't a 2-litre rental car for a change. So it was great fun. It felt like it just stuck to the road, to be honest. When you drove it at first, you sort of sat there not knowing or not expecting when the accelerations would come. It was like really exhilarating. And then when I took control, it just felt like it stuck and through the corners. Probably most noticeable thing was through the corners. Like the first corner that I took, it just didn't feel like it moved
really
anywhere.
Grips,
it just gripped to the road and it wasn't going to move anywhere. So it was great fun.
It wasn't that great when you told me your Jaguar story just before I handed over you the reins to the CTR.
Yeah, not ideal. I didn't think of the timing of that one. No,
So I think you had a little spin in a Jaguar and ended up in a wall in the middle of Watford.
Yeah, that's it. The Watford Ring Road.
Right.
Yeah, I saw flattened Jaguar front end. I think I was 21 years old, and we were sponsored by Jaguar at the time. The England cricket team was sponsored by Jaguar, and part of the sponsorship was you got to design your own car, any type of Jaguar car you wanted. So I chose an XKR.
That's the fast.
Supercharged
5 litre.
Yeah, supercharged 5 litre thing. And had all black wheels, black exterior.
Like you got now on your...
exactly like the Q8, and cream interior. And a few days after I got it, it was a bit greasy underfoot or under tyre, I should say. Lost the back of it on the ring road in Watford and ended up in a wall. So it wasn't a great relationship I had with Jaguar then.
So the CTR I've been working on probably for about 6 months now, and I had this sort of plan in my mind to make sort of the best sports car for the road, but at a very good price. That was my sort of plan, and I picked the Aston as the car to do that. I'm still choosing the green, that's why I put it on the screen, but the plan is to have the green and bronze edition. So there is one being sprayed in the green now, the bronze alloys going on, and then the silver one you drove today is more my performance version, so you can see what it's about. But it's really come together, and it's been really nice to do. It's a lovely project to just keep working on a car, the handling, the performance, also just some of the interior stuff as well, the exterior.
Yeah, but I suppose you feel like you can do what you want with it, can't you? It's your...
Yeah, and I said that the donor, I think you were quite surprised at the price I could get a donor car for, and I said that I first had one in 2005 when they first come out, and they were about 88k, sort of 140k in today's money, and then I was able to buy a 1,000-mile one for about £40,000. But at one stage they dropped to 18k, which you couldn't believe, could you?
That's
for an Aston
wild,
Martin,
isn't it? Yeah, for an Aston Martin.
So I feel that they're going to go up in value. So the plan was to take one, put this peelable paint on, which is new technology. I think I was talking to you about that as well. So what they do is they prime the car in a primer that protects the original paint, and then you can have any paint you want over, but it's peelable with a heat gun if you wanted to take it off. So I think you said about a wrap, but
Yeah.
a bit more, it is actual paint.
Yeah, on my car, my Q8 at the moment, I had the grey bits blacked out but wrapped.
Right,
Not
yeah.
in the stuff you're talking about. Yeah, I had it wrapped.
So what it gives you is that huge depth in the finish because it is a paint finish. So Logic VPC are sending me the green sort of cards tomorrow that I can look at and choose which one. But I've gone for sort of a Lamborghini green, but then made it a little bit lighter, but quite heavy metallic. And then obviously the changes I've done to the grille, the spacers, obviously the bronze rims, the rear diffuser, rear spoiler, but then all the performance stuff I've done to make it really, well, like you were smiling straight away, weren't you? Especially with the sound.
Yeah, the sound was insane, like that deep growl almost, like when you got to a certain point on the revs, it was you just couldn't hear anything other than the engine screaming at you. It was really nice. I haven't been in a supercar for a while, and to have it that responsive and that like in your ears, it was like reverberating in your brain. It
makes
great.
you want to go back out in it.
Yeah,
that's what I wanted.
Yeah, it was a lovely day for it as well. It was good. Yeah, no wetness on the road.
Well, we went quite a long way in the end, didn't we?
Yeah, and we had to cancel this a few weeks ago, didn't we? Because it was
just too wet.
Yeah, wet underneath. It wouldn't have been quite as much fun as it was today.
So price-wise, it was really difficult because there's a lot of these sort of tributes out there, Porsches, and I wanted something that was affordable but still a fantastic car. So like there's a Lancia tribute come out, it's like $500,000. Some of the Singers are 2.2 million. I know it's nowhere near that level, but I'm looking at sort of £60,000 to £70,000. I think it's a really nice price point for someone. And it's an Aston Martin. And I think that green and bronze, we were looking at the silver one earlier, just trying to imagine how it's going to be. And I can't wait for 2 weeks' time to see it. And Wiggy, who come down as well, he absolutely loved it to drive. Yeah,
it was wonderful to drive. And for someone who's 6'8", it was surprisingly spacious. I didn't have to fold myself up like a pretzel to get in there, which I've had to do before when getting in cars of that ilk. So yeah, it was really impressive and sort of makes me go away tempted to give you a phone call afterwards.
Well, it's also good for me because obviously getting taller people in, because some cars, you know, like a lot of the Lamborghinis, you don't really want to be over 6 foot because you're on the roof. So this car is very rounded to anyone taking it really, and also you say it's got a big boot, which I don't think you expected it to be that in there. So you could get your golf clubs and that in there. But yeah, I think it's a fantastic car. I think it's absolutely a modern classic. I think it was difficult for you to believe it was 16 years old.
Yeah, I could. Yeah,
because the shape.
2006. Yeah, I sort of look at them and sometimes you think, they look a bit dated if you see them on the road, but for some reason it just didn't at all. It's sort of timeless. Well,
it was I think the design of the year in 2005 when it first come out, and I remember Top Gear done it with the Porsche, and they really liked the Aston, but it didn't quite have the performance. But now it's got that. I think it's a fantastic car to buy. I mean, the second one I've done, which is up at paint now, my brother-in-law's taken because he just saw the green and bronze and went. So it takes me sort of probably about 4 months to put one together.
Right.
But yeah, so on from there, we were talking about used cars, wasn't we, in the car? And also where the market's going, where I feel it's going, electric, hybrid, petrol. So I've sort of got in my mind that I've just gone for my first full electric car.
Which one have you gone for?
So I've gone for the Q4 Audi.
Okay.
And to tell the truth, round here I absolutely love it. I haven't got a fast charger yet, but I did do my first long journey.
Right.
Which was a bit of a trauma, really. We went. It was 330 miles, and I had 240.
Right.
So what I thought is I'll charge up on the way, and then get to there, then get back. So I don't normally get that worried or anxious about things, but when I went for the first services and they didn't have a charger, I thought, oh no, what am I going to now? They had Tesla ones, but not the ones I needed, and there was other ones there. So I thought, okay, right. 7 miles to the next services, and I've got lots of range, and I've got to plan when I charge now, because if I charge too early I haven't got the range to get back. So I was going through it all, and anyway I went to the next services. Yes, no one there, perfect, plugged it in, out of order. I thought, oh no, I can imagine this. I'm thinking I'm going to be staying over where we are, because
Yeah.
they have only got a 3-pin charger where I'm going to, so that's like 15 hours or something. So
Yeah.
anyway, but I went to the next one and it worked perfectly.
Right.
So plugged it in, 50 minutes, had a coffee, something to eat, fully charged, went there and back. So I think it's just an infrastructure problem.
Yeah, it feels that way, doesn't it? I mean, I live in central London at the moment, and I've only recently got this Q8. I sold a X5 earlier in the year. Somehow, because of the appreciating used car market, made $5,000 on it. I'd had it less than a year, made $5,000 on it, and decided to put that money into a Q8 because I've always liked the look and the shape of the Q8. So I was like, I'm gonna swap and get that. But when I was considering the Q8, I was looking at electric models, Teslas, the Audi,
because the tax breaks.
Yeah, the tax breaks, and living in central London, being able to go in and out of the congestion zone and the ultra low emission zone without any penalties does appeal to me. I even looked at the hybrid P400e Range Rover as well, but that's only got about 28 miles of range as opposed to a full electric. But the infrastructure for charging it means that if you wanted to charge it overnight, because I live in a flat, you've got to find one of the lamppost chargers around the corner that would then take forever. There's no Tesla superchargers close by. So especially in central London, when you've got people living on top of people, there is a problem with the infrastructure of it. Yeah,
I mean, at the moment we are going to do a video soon, but I have got the hybrid Range Rover here. I've got a hybrid Q5 for my wife, and I've got the full electric. So the only way I can see to do it is to have, if you are a 2-car garage, to have one hybrid and one electric, because I wouldn't overly want to do that again.
No,
because I started to.
But it must be stressful.
Well, because I'm picking up my daughter from school, and I'm thinking, I'm not sure I'm coming back tonight because I've got no other way of charging. The only thing was, on the motorway, it kept saying no fuel available. So I thought, well, actually, I'm probably better off having an electric car in these times of no fuel. True, so going back to sort of why I've got the Vantage in that there was that I had in my mind that if we're all going to go electric, then we're all going to want a really nice car. So one thing I am doing with the new one I'm just building is the exhaust will be totally quiet on a switch, and I mean like virtually no sound, like an electric car. Right. But then it will open up to that noise you heard today. So that's in development at the moment. And then you would have a car that you just sort of look at like and maybe go on a track, because if they sort of force us off the road a little bit in petrol, you've got a track car as well, because in that would be a fantastic track car.
Yeah, I could feel it, just the cornering when we went round. I was like, that'd be a lot of fun to take round the track.
And you can learn to drive in that manual. You said about heel and toe and just learning more about your driving in there. And you don't have to go especially quick to have enjoyment in it. That's what I like on there.
No, the noise is there regardless of...
Exactly, you get that feel in the steering, don't you?
Yeah.
I've been pleasantly surprised at that Q5 handling wise, because I obviously wasn't going to go like full electric. I tried that e-tron before, and that's the one that has the cameras on the mirrors. You can have that, and I wasn't that happy with the range. I think it was about 200, but I am getting about 270 miles from that. Okay. And I've just been using the normal charger, which is 30 hours to charge. Yeah, sure. But I've been getting around that and getting away with it. I say it's just that infrastructure of longer journeys, whether I'd feel... I mean, I went past my one that was closed, and there were like 12 Tesla superchargers and spaces. Yeah. So they've got the network, I think, sewn up. It's just... I'm just not that keen on the look of the Teslas. I don't know.
No, the interior looks funny to me. The wood and the other and the other bits, it just doesn't quite look right to me. Because again, it looks a bit simple and basic for a car that you're spending so much money on. It doesn't feel like you're getting that much for it.
And I like Audi. I don't know why I was waiting for Audi or BMW, because it actually just feels like a normal Audi, to tell the truth. But I think the biggest thing I've found for me is that the phone car kit's amazing. I haven't dropped any signal anywhere, which I've never had before, ever since I sold phones. It was back with the old Nokia with an aerial, you had signal, and how quiet it is. Right. So it feels super relaxing. And then when you're on country roads that I am, the biggest benefit is pulling out a junction. So it is just instant, and it is much safer. You know, I feel much happier with that, whereas in a petrol or a diesel you always have a lag. This is just instant, so it's fantastic. So I think we should just have a little talk about sims as well, because I see that, in this world we're going to have an electric car. You got your present, your Aston, and then I think it's going to be virtual racing is the future. So I mean, I've loved having a simulator at home through lockdown, and probably, as you've seen, probably done too many laps and enjoyed it way too much.
But you're far too good at it.
But what was your feeling? Because you started with like an F4, didn't you? Which is a little bit understeery, but what's your general feeling of?
Well, it's exciting because you just become immersed in it. I think I felt like I had square eyes when I got off it. I think I've been sat on it about an hour and a half, going through lap after lap, trying to beat your time, trying to stay on the track most of the time. But I think the feedback and the responsiveness of it. I've driven driving simulators before, but not full responsive ones like that
with motion. And
with
feel
motion.
Yourself, you're going up and down.
Yeah. And you're fighting the steer in the corner. You're fighting the understeer in order to get the car there. So it was surprisingly responsive, and you definitely walk off feeling like you've been working out for a little while. It's a little bit stressful as well, because it's incredibly frustrating when, with my job, I like being good at things, and
that's why
generally,
you've been on there for 2 hours, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. The disappointing thing is I've not got any better in 2 hours. It is very, very frustrating. But it's with what I do, I'm just used to trying to perfect everything, whether it's a different delivery or catching the ball or anything, reading game situations. You try and nail it every single time. So to have something like that, and the one thing, it's just so addictive. You're right, I can see after or beyond this point that virtual racing is going to become such a big thing.
Yeah, well, I don't go out in the evenings a lot in the cars now. I just use the sim. And for the reason that I just don't believe you can use these performance cars on the road anymore. They're too fast, and it's like driving a missile. I've had McLarens, different ones. I would absolutely put the sim in front of any car I've got.
I mean, for someone who hasn't owned super cars like some of the ones or most of the ones you have, but it's exciting to be able to experience that and do it safely, because if you gave me a McLaren out on the road now, there's every chance I'm wrapping it around a tree.
You are last of the late breakers.
I blame the simulator. I was definitely braking at the right time.
But I said to you, I've sold cars because of that, like the 600 LT. I just come home and just said, I'm selling that car, I'm going to die. If you're left foot braking after 200, and especially for me coming from a sim to then getting in a high performance, I mean, you're looking at sort of 5 seconds to 100 now in them cars. It's just too fast. But I think the biggest benefit of the sim I find is if I'm really into F1 at the moment, but purely because I can take the car on the same track they're on the day before, learn the track, go around it. And there was a Grand Prix recently that I was really struggling with the last bend with understeer, and then when I was watching it, they were having the same problem, which is crazy.
That's insane,
because you haven't got any tyres, but like you said, I can feel the tyres gripping, but obviously there's no tyres there, which is insane, really.
What's your favourite track to do?
I think I like Spa and Portimao. Spa was just because you go up Eau Rouge, which we'll do later, and you feel the compression of going up, and that was just my favourite ever thing. I actually wanted to go to Spa and drive it, but the sim's been the best thing I could do that. And I think Portimao set a really fast time on there. It took me a bit of time to get there, but as you said, it's very addictive, and every bend you're trying to do the best you can. But I've sort of got to the point where you just can't do that every bend, which is they find. You're just trying to get round in the best time, and sometimes you can try different lines and get quicker. I think that the other thing is just the graphics and that. When I show you some of the other settings on there, but like in the rallying, it's phenomenal.
I'd love to try the rallying actually.
I'll
end up in a ditch, but
but it's quite tiring as well. Actually, afterwards, you feel like you said, you feel a bit sweaty. You feel the adrenaline's in your body. A lot more than driving on the road.
Definitely, because you're also comfortable pushing yourself. It's the way I was spinning off the track there at Brands Hatch, I think it was. I wouldn't be doing that in real life. No way.
And some cars are very different. Like you went in the Formula 3 and you settled in, that's your best car.
That was probably my favourite car, For the Formula 1, everything happened too quick. And the Formula 4, the F4 was a little bit understeery, and I
Yeah.
didn't feel like I had the grip. But yeah, the Formula 3.
You were just natural on that Formula 3.
Yeah, it
straight
felt
away.
good.
Yeah.
It felt actually, that was. If we could just change the rules of the game and we do it on the F3, that'd be great.
I really struggle on the GT3 cars. So in the Formula 1 car, I'm absolutely fine. But on the GT3 cars, I'll be like you, I'll be spinning out. I'll be really struggling. Just because they're maybe a lot heavier, and the F1 cars are more like natural and a bit more oversteery, twitchy going in. So I definitely think, for me, I think that they're absolutely the future. So I sort of see a world of this sort of, maybe a Richard Groves world, but electric car, like an Aston like this, and a Sim. And that's it, because we don't know where we're going with these petrol cars, do we? And whether we are going to be allowed to.
No, well, the legislation seems to change every 6 months or so,
and
doesn't
the
it?
emissions they need to get to.
Yeah, it's looking a long way off, isn't it? So you'd imagine the first or the easiest target for those things will be petrol and diesel cars.
I mean, hopefully we're home working. Surely the emissions, and we were talking about London where you are, where there's not as many people up there, and I think last Tuesday there's only 50% of the people back in London as compared to pre-COVID. And is that going to change? And is that
it must make it has to make a difference, doesn't it? It would be such a shame actually to miss out on that feeling and the noise of what we experienced earlier in the Aston. Be shame to never be able to do that.
I know,
again.
that's the thing, isn't it? And and the reason I picked the Aston as well is that can be electric in the future, so I'm a little bit ahead of my time with that. But if they are looking at a sort of battery and drivetrain for sort of 15k, and then that may be an option in the future that I could change it to electric, but I just wanted that option there.
Yeah.
So the other thing is, firstly, being a thank you for being a customer of Active Digital. I know you got your new iPhone 13 today.
I do, yeah. Thank you very much. I've been with you guys 2 years, 2 and a bit years, I think now. We've been on a contract with you, and the service has been amazing. I think it was Lee back in the day when I first got it, who set me up and got it all up and running for me, and was always there to help me if I needed or I had any problems, or I think I had it nicked one day from a pub in Maida Vale. So a guy literally came in.
Video camera,
came in and nicked my phone.
Footage,
it was phenomenal, really. But it's been great, and thank you very much for.
And I think we saved you quite a bit on your bills. I remember you was maybe on Vodafone before, and you had a really high bill somewhere.
Yeah. I think sometimes as sportsmen, you just get slung onto whichever deal tariff that someone decides that you go on, and you just accept it. But now, as I'm getting older and more frugal, it's great to have good advice. So I can only thank you.
I think we save our customers just on misbilling probably 20 to 25,000 a month, right, over all of them, just through errors, and things on bills. So we, the team work really well at doing that, and we just don't like the feeling of people being sort of ripped off or paying too much or not understanding being abroad and having a high data charge. It's got better, but obviously they do keep changing the rules on you with Brexit as well. What countries have you got data, have you not? So we've got a great app now, the Active Digital app on the App Store, where you can chat to us anytime and we'll get back to you and help you. But I wanted to show you these, so I got you 4 of these today.
Okay, I've never seen these before. I don't know what they are.
So these are Apple AirTags, and I started using them probably about 2 weeks ago, and they're phenomenal. So what it is like a tracker, but a small tracker. So what I did was, first I put them in my cars, and then I put them in my daughter's school bags as well. But I was thinking, like, for yourself, you've got your cricket bag, these type of items. So all you do, and it's so easy. I think this is, I've been selling Apple since it started, but I think this is the best product they do. Of everything, because the phones have got to the law of diminishing returns. The camera can only get so good, but this, within sort of 2 minutes, you could set up this AirTag and put one in your car, in your cricket bag, wherever you want, and it will live track. And it's just in Find My iPhone as items. And it's been phenomenal, and I've been selling these to car garages, storage. I had one storage took 30 straight away for all his cars. But I just think it's just so useful. And if you are leaving something somewhere and you're worried, especially you do a lot of travelling, don't you?
Yeah, well, I'm going to Australia for 2 months in the middle of November. For the Ashes, to commentate over there. So it will be handy to put that in the Q8 sat outside my house. Yeah,
and any other areas that you feel you want to track, you've got it there. But for me, I'm probably using about 22 of these now.
Right. Okay.
And it's just great to have a live sort of tracking where everything is.
Yeah. If you're concerned or worried,
and they're very small size.
Yeah.
On there, so I've got you 4 of them to
great.
try and then
Thank you very much.
See what you think. So I think it's one of the best things Apple's
great.
ever made, and so simple and no ongoing costs.
Yeah.
You pay for the AirTag and that's it. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having you today. It's been absolutely brilliant. And
no, thank you for having me.
And I would love to see a better time. I know have you got much more time?
I've got a little bit more time, a couple of time constraints, but I'm sure I can afford.
Because you're within half a second of Simon from McLaren, aren't you? And I think you really want to beat that.
Yeah, I can't be sitting bottom of the leaderboard. No way. So I'll be slinging myself back in there after a little break.
And I'd love for you to see this when we do a launch event.
Yeah.
The green and bronze.
Well, I'm invested now.
I know. I think you're really keen driving it. I could see you were thinking, I want one of these.
I was like, do you want to trade the Q8 for that? Why not?
So it's been a pleasure, and look forward to having you back maybe in a few months and see if you're any quicker on the sim.
Yeah, I'll give it my best shot. Thank you.
Thanks, Stephen. Thanks. Thank you for listening to today's podcast, and we'd really love for you to like and subscribe to the Challenge the Road podcast. We look forward to seeing you again soon.